That's it. Or it kills everything, but Finks comes back. That's what I meant to say.
He does take the verdict and he does cast it. See if George doesn't have a response.
Yeah, he's just going to go to 28 and knock the top for a collected company, which he got a Court of Calling, so that's close, but no cigar. He's going to pay a black mana to cast a Scavenging Ooze. I think that we're just seeing like a bunch of really sloppy play.
Is that a swamp or is it a? I think it's a basic forest.
It's different art than that one, right? Or is it the same? No, it's the same. I apologize, George.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure George is doing it right.
Just Microb doing that was enough. It's gonna maybe question everything as an Anger of the Gods comes down.
The young Guru Forest, but George does end up conceding, it looks like, or was that Microb conceding?
This is all over the place, I'm not sure. I assume that George conceded to the Anger of the Gods because he was down to just a Court of Calling, but we'll find out if Microb sides out face up.
It's face down.
It might be going to game... Maybe going to game 3. It's hard to tell. But anyways, they're definitely going to game 3. So we'll see if
Microbe conceded with the Scavenging is still in play. So we'll see what
he's at really low life. He was probably at 4 and he wasn't able to kill the Scavenging Ooze or something.
That'll do it.
Anger of the Gods doesn't handle Ooze very well with creatures in the graveyard.
Ask Matt if they can hear me any better. If it matters. So sorry.
Alright. So we're going to go into this game 3, which is going to have Microb on the play. He's going to definitely have his mana leaks in. Looks like he's doing a quick phone check. Hopefully he doesn't open the Twitch app. Microb, if you open your Twitch app and hear this, you better stop that. Say anything. Say anything.
Wait, what now? Oh, I'll just say anything. Absolutely. Well, it does look like we are going into the draws for both players. Microb currently drawing. George still moved a little to the right. Can't really see what's going on there. Just drawing 7 though. George needs to move his mat a little over so we can awesome viewers can see the stream.
It's not a big deal if it's hindering his gameplay. Nothing we can do about it. But he's going to shock himself to play at Birds to go down to 18 life. He's going to pass it back to Microb. He's going to untap his Colonnade and draw, and hopefully he's hoping to have a removal spell for that Birds. He's going to pay 2 and Lightning Helix the Birds, going up to 23.
Not too bad of a play, keeping George off of the mana. Keeping it from ramping.
Verdant Catacombs. Catacombs coming down for George.
Catacombs.
Catacombs. Lightning Bolt is the draw for Michael, who's going to play an island and pass it back over to George, who is thinking about popping his fetch at the end of turn, but instead is just going to knock the top of his deck. It looks like he drew a Kitchen Finks, and okay, he's land light. I like that play. Microb is a little less land light, but still land light. George is going to pop a fetch down to 17. He's going to grab his Murmuring Bosk. Murmuring Krish Bosk. That's bad.
Chris
Bad
Bosk.
attempt at a joke. The Krish Bosk. And he's going to have it tapped. Definitely not going to reveal a Tree Folk, as there's not many that are playable. In these colors, you can play Doran or like Nameless Inversion. That's pretty much it. He's going to draw his land exactly what he needed. He might pop that and try to run out a Kitchen Finks or
I think it's
something.
the best play here. You need something on the board.
I think it's arguable to take 3 grab an Overgrown Tomb and play a Fulminator Mage, you'd have to take 4 total, though.
Get rid of the Colonnade? Or?
Yeah, and if he allows it to resolve, get rid of the Colonnade, but he's not going to be doing that. He looks like he might just be running out Kitchen Finks, which is also a fine play, but it does have a stronger chance of being countered.
I didn't think about... Does he have a Fulminator Mage in hand, then?
I believe so. And he's going to run out Kitchen Finks. Kitchen Finks looks like it resolved, so George is going to go up to 18. And Path to Exile is going to come down from Microb to exile the Kitchen Finks, and it should grab a Swamp. George does have plenty of double green and double white now. He needs the double black. Lightning Bolt is the draw.
Did that text you back?
And I think that just had Microb pass it back. So he has instant speed answers. Only one red source right now, so he can handle one thing at a time as George draws Eternal Witness. And this is where the deck gets interesting. He gets to end of Microp's turn Collected Company, which is pretty awesome, into more than likely a free spell. He's going to go ahead and cast Eternal Witness now. Microp's going to let it resolve. He's going to grab a Birds, and he's going to cast it and pass. Lightning Bolt's going to come down to clear out the Eternal Witness. Microp's going to untap and draw. And he drew a Remand, so Microb is... I feel like if I was there, I'd be able to tell from his body language that he's pretty frustrated right now. He's unable to draw a 4th land. It's okay. He only runs like 25 or 26.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a good probability of drawing a land. It's not necessary.
That is Microb's worst nightmare right now, because he could remand it back, and that does nothing because he can recast it. I think you have to consider remanding it just to not let George cast other spells, but he's not. He's just going to let it resolve. He's going to add a white to his mana pool, and it might be a blue, but I assume he's going to float a white. I think George went to his attack step to clear it out, but we'll see.
Why did it just immediately die? What happened to it?
He Fulminator Mage and just sacked it to get rid of his Colonnade.
Oh.
George cast, I believe that was Inquisition or Viscera Seer, and Microb remanded it to draw a card. Didn't draw a land, and he passes it back with Force and Ferocity, and he is flustered. That's a lot of Fs. Alliteration. Fetch is going to come down for George, putting him to, I believe, 17 if I've kept up correctly. And he should grab another Murmuring Bosk. 5 cards in hand. 2 Microb 7. Once again, on the left of your screen, we have George Morgan playing Abzan Collected Company combo with Michael Robinson, or Microb on the right, playing Jeskai Control. He's been in the... Microb and George both have been in the booth a handful of times. It could have been Pack Red, not an Inquisition. I didn't get a good look at it. If I can see George's hand, I'd be able to tell you exactly, but it might be a Pack Rat. And if that card hits play and resolves being able to use its effect, Microb is going to be in trouble with only 2 lands. And it looks like he's going to lead with Pack Rat. So that was definitely Pack Rat. Microb has to do it right now. He's going to Lightning Bolt it. George is definitely going to make a rat. Discarding something, I assume. Yep, he's going to tap both of his Murmuring Bosks. To...
Pack Rat's a sideboard win con in this type of deck, isn't it? It's not main board.
No, Matt mainboards it. I don't know if George does, but I know that Matt's...
I think it's a really solid card, either way.
Mainboarding it. Collected Company going to come down for George. Microb just shrugs it off, and that's a Tide Hollow Sculler, which is pretty cool. So a Tide Hollow Sculler, and is that a Pack Rat? Oh, Viscera Seer. Okay, I was gonna say, get out of here, George. you can't just go into a Pack Rat off a Collected Company. Viscera Seer and Tide Hollow Sculler, and he could, I believe, sack the Tide Hollow Sculler to the Viscera Seer. Hey, he did it! To exile a card from Microp's hand forever, which will probably be maybe Anger of the Gods. I don't know, Lightning Helix. Can't really cast any of the spells other than Snapcaster Mage. So he's going to get the Path. the single color castable one, and he's going to hope that Mycroft doesn't have anything and try to win next turn. So he's going to run out a Cartel Aristocrat to put 2 of the combo piece in play, and he's going to try to end this one as fast as possible. Looks like he had to pain himself at least once it looks like, to cast that from the Murmuring Bosk. Fiend Hunter in play, or drawn for George, not in play. And he has another Collected Company. He drew a Kitchen Finks for turn. And he's going to think about it for a second. Looks like he's tapping 4, and he's going to cast Collected Company. Mycroft says, yeah, there you go. And that was an Inoffensive that was drawn. And Scavenging Ooze. So Inoffensive is going to come in. And a second Tide Hollow Sculler. Now Mycroft has to respond before this Tide Hollow Sculler's ability goes on the stack. So he's going to go ahead and Snapcaster Lightning Bolt the Inoffensive, to which George is going to think. Let's see what happens here. Looks like he's just going to sack it to Cartel to make it probably pro-red. Doesn't really matter, Mycroft's tapped out. He might just make it pro-blue and just get in there for 2, honestly.
Feels the same. We got a Restoration Angel, Supreme Verdict, Anger of the Gods. Yeah.
Now Mycroft has to draw a white source to play the Supreme Verdict, or else George should be able to...
He didn't have the red either for Anger of the Gods, but I still think it's definitely the better pick. What?
Accidentally closed out Twitch. That doesn't help, does it?
Was it like back feed or something?
Apparently Facebook messages were popping up and being a little loud. Sorry if that happened. If it's somebody saying that Facebook is going off nonstop.
Is it your Facebook?
Oh, am I logged into Facebook on here?
Yeah.
Yeah, but my sounds are muted. Oh, there we go. Now it should be fine. I was on Facebook on the actual computer to post about the stream going live. So sorry about that. The sounds on the computer itself are muted.
But it's still broadcast. So
yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I was unaware.
Kenny's just a popular guy. He's got 5 different people messaging him.
Trying to figure out the best way to get this stream set up for you all. As a lot of stuff has happened.
Kasari Pride Maid. That's a interesting one to pull out.
Yeah.
It's going to Lightning Helix the Aristocrat.
Gonna stack the birds to give it pro red. Mycroft's gonna say that resolves. He's gonna eat 3.
Do you feel like that was a good play there to Lightning Helix the Aristocrat, even though you're going to just make it pro, or should he have targeted something else by chance?
I think it was fine to just get that damage through, because I think that's where George is at in this game.
Right.
Mycroft is way behind on lands, and that's really, really bad for the aggro or the control deck. He has to find a white source by next turn. If he doesn't lose this turn,